Well, exactly. And I think if you're going to fight hard for a direction to go in, I'm going to use this as an example. Equality. Equality is commonly the thing people pursue, whether in any kind of walk of life. Pursue that, but don't pursue it so much that your equality becomes inequality.
Right, and they a lot
exactly.
of overcorrection a lot of the time, and they'll say they'll misrepresent it, and they'll use it like equity instead, but they'll just call it equality. It's
exactly.
Like, we don't want equity, we want equality, because everyone's different. Like my neighbor doesn't want the same things in life as I do. Mm-hmm. Like, I may want to build robots and to help society in that way, and he may want to just go live in a rural area and have his own garden and have his own family and whatever, and do whatever he wants on his own property. And it's like, that's okay. It's okay, and that's what we want. We want equality, where we have the same groundwork that we can each individually build off of as far as we want to as an individual.
Like I said earlier, you could start at the bottom and work your way to the top. You can start at the top and end up at the bottom. It's all your choice there. What did you just say? Oh, God. I had...
Yeah, the difference between equality and equity, where...
Oh, no, it was okay. It was like what people want. It was what
yeah.
people want. That's one of the questions I ask people, and I can never get a solid answer from, because nobody really knows what they want, and that's the foundation. That's what you need to figure out. I know exactly what I want. I know what it takes to make me happy, from a dollar amount to an emotional standpoint. I know what it takes to make me happy. But a lot of people don't know what it takes to make them happy, so they'll never be happy, because they'll never achieve the happiness, because they don't know what they want.
Right, and I think you would end up like the pretty people, the mice utopia.
Oh, 100%.
Is you would just spend your days grooming yourself in your room on your high rise, you know?
Yep.
And you would starve to death and have nobody around.
I just think it's important that people figure out what they want out of life.
I agree. 100%. I agree.
Yeah, and I think that's a part of the activist mentality is yes, there should be a battle to fight, but it has to be the right one. And if you're going to go around and take advantage of people who do have, disabilities, or do have a lack of awareness, a lack of help where they need it, then they're going to feel left out. So the activists take advantage of that by saying, we recognize your existence. We know that we acknowledge you. So we're going to help, but you have to help. You have to join our fight. But they don't really have a fight. So that's what entraps people into it, is like, I acknowledge you. I love you. Yes, it's by saying, we're the army and we're going to fight for you. You just have to say that you want us to fight for you. And then they just leave them in the dust after.
Clearing up on two things, if I can remember. With the activist thing, like you said, fighting for the right one, that's a big problem, because when you get an organization of multiple people, it's like, who thinks what is right, and it kind of gets blurred there. So where do you draw the line? The second one is, like with a lot of groups, if they do get it passed, what happens now? Okay, so everyone now accepts, there's a standard now. Everyone approves of that. So when that goes through, they'll start making up, again, what we said, making up more problems, because they need something to do. They aren't activists no more, because...
How are they going to make their money?
Exactly. So,
How are they going to make their money?
Yeah, it's a perpetual motion machine. Everyone wants a perpetual motion machine.
I think kind of to help your whole situation with like the fighting the right fight, everyone needs to start fighting their own fight, because the problem is you have people fighting other people's fights for them.
Yeah,
so you have like. Well, it's like there's a lot of time. There's a situation not too long ago that me and Dylan both know of, where it's like someone wants to say on the behalf of a person who's not even present how they feel, how this affects them, and how we should change. And the problem with that is that you're not allowing that person to speak. So since when did your voice become their voice?
Right. So not to cut you off, but like we see this a lot with Autism Speaks. So like in the autistic community, they hate it because everybody on Autism Speaks board is neuro typical.
Okay.
How are you gonna speak for people? Yeah, no, they're autistic. But how are you gonna speak for people and not allow those people to give you their input?
No, I'm adding on to that. It reminded me of what you just said. Hold on, I'll get back to. There was this guy who did a video. He wore a sombrero and huge big old mustache, and he was going through college, and all these white kids were all like, that is so insensitive. What is wrong with you? Mm-hmm. And then he went to the marketplace down here, and it was all these Mexicans you rock, having a good time. And he's like, hey, does this outfit bother you? He's like, no, you look great. I love that. It's just go party with us. That's right.
Because it's not disrespecting the culture. It's disrespecting if you go out there and start acting out stereotypes and being ridiculous. But so you don't want somebody else to wear this other culture stuff because it's disrespectful, air quotes. But you just want to stomp out their culture. You just don't want their culture to propagate. I think it's important that we allow culture to propagate very heavily.
Yeah, and I think that's a problem with the people who would have offense about cultural appropriation or whatever, they're going on about eugenics this, eugenics that. It's but they're the eugenicists in this situation because they're saying you have to be of pure blood to do these things. Mm-hmm. So you have to be a Mexican. It's but how about this guy who was has a white mom, is raised in California. He just knows how to speak Spanish. He's participated in some Mexican or whatever, and it's he's allowed to do that, but he can't wear a feathered headband and go whoa, because that's bad, but you know what I mean.
Well, it's kind of like I said, it's just the weirdness of being offended for someone. I think a great example not too long ago, Aussie, when he was here, he had heard me and Dylan having a conversation. Of course, when me and Dylan have a conversation, we get loud and we almost talk to the person that we're talking about or whatever, but in first person. So it's we're talking straight out of our head to each other. And to someone on the outside like Aussie, he thought we were legitimately angry with each other. And so he was trying to basically try to calm down the one of the other, whoever he feels is the aggressor. He was trying to calm them down. It's but wait, allow me to calm them down first. If they didn't listen then I can understand a group effort in doing so, but don't just take the initiative and assume I'm offended for me.
Right.
Because if I haven't got there, now you're just stepping in for no reason, really.
Yeah, and I think it was, goes along with what I was saying earlier, is where these people will go into these communities that behave the way they behave. The guy, he doesn't know how that is how y'all interact with each other or whatever. So he assumes, and then he's the one that's in the wrong, but he's thinking that he's in the right the whole time. His intentions are good,
but bad things can be done with good intentions.
Right. And he doesn't understand the nuance of that different culture, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And so, but he's going in with good intentions or whatever.
See, that's why you have to have that certain level of assimilation. It's you have to first understand the culture before you can even attempt to try to be offended.
Right, which is why gatekeeping is a thing, and I don't think gatekeeping at all is wrong, because it's okay, if you want to be a part of this community, you have
S.T.A.L.K.E.R.S.
Yeah, you have to be. You have to prove that you are actually a fan. You have to prove that you actually want to be here.
And not even see, once again, it's I don't even think. Well, I think that just the proof will come with time, regardless. If you're really about it, I mean, that's kind of just saying
right.
To me, that would be no different than a citizenship test right there. And it's easy to pass a citizenship test. You just have to know basic information about any country.
Yeah, but you also have to be willing to do the, assimilation process.
As far as the proving it is concerned, it's hard to just say that because, like I said, with a citizenship test, there's plenty of people that can pass that, but they still have no intention of assimilating to our ideals.
Your whole gatekeeping thing, are you talking about more or less just with culture though? Because I was gonna say like, if someone's listening to walking down the street listening to a Metallica song dressed like in normal clothes, I think you'd be an asshole if you walked up like, what's the third track on their fourth album? Sort of, you know what I mean? So I think you gotta.
No, I got you. Yeah. No, I totally get you. But I mean, it can come in phases or whatever. You know, you pass this test, you pass that test. But I think it's okay to allow people in, but I don't think that. So I think communities or cultures should be allowed to walk their own path. I don't think that it is okay for someone to come in and say that, well, I think we should all go this direction. I don't think that is, morally right of that individual to do.
Okay. So actually I think it ties into what Dill said. It was like someone re-emerging in the group and then telling that group, hey, you all think wrong. So like basically someone from a different culture coming into like this culture, right, and being all like, we need to change everything because I think this way, and where the majority probably doesn't, or there's a
and then you have the issue of where that culture that is the individual is trying to change. They're saying, well, go back to your own culture then. It's like, because I don't think that is incorrect assessment of the situation of the group that the person's trying to change, because it does feel that way to them. It's like, well, you're trying to change this into where you came from. You're trying to change this to this culture over here or whatever, but we're not. We're our own group. We're our own culture. We want to do the things that we want to do and go the path that we want to go. It's like, you came from over here and you're trying to boss us around.
Ooh. That's exactly like I said earlier. If you feel a certain way about certain things, go to where like-minded people are.
Right, because you'll always have a community, or you'll make one, or you'll find one.
Always.